let's look at example number 7, and this will put us in good stead to deal with quadratic equations in which they are still able to factorize, and then we'll start looking at examples where we need to apply the quadratic formula. So example number 7 reads as follows, and I've got x cubed plus 3x squared, right, minus 4x is equal to 0. Now this looks almost like the standard form, except there's one thing that's slightly different. Remember, standard form is ax squared plus bx, plus c is equal to 0, right? And when we look at this over here, we can now see that that almost looks like it, except for the indices. The powers are not exactly the same, right? So if you look at this, always try to factorize first, and when the first golden rule of factorization is look for a common factor. Now we can see that there's an x over there, an x over there, and an x over there, so we can pull out that x, and I say x times what gives me x cubed? That's going to be x squared, right? And this is going to be a positive times what's give me a positive is a positive. X times what will give, well, there's a 1 times 3. X times what gives me x squared, that's just going to be x, and x times negative 4 will give me negative 4x, and that's equivalent to 0, right? Okay, so I can factor this further because I've got factors of 4 that when I minus them it gives me 3, and that's going to be x into x and x. It's going to be 4 and 1. The bigger number is going to get the sign of the middle term, and that's going to tell me that the numbers are different. Okay, so when I look at this, I can clearly say that either this factor is going to be 0, or that's going to be 0, or that's going to be 0. So either x is equal to 0, or x is equal, x minus 1 is equal to 0, or x plus 4 is equal to 0. And when we solve this further, that one is complete. This implies that x equals positive 1, and this implies that x equals negative 4. And so there's example number 7, and now you can complete the homework on quadratic equations before moving on to quadratic equations involving the formula. In other words, equations that cannot factorize.